And Steve, if you'd open with a short prayer.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, please be with us today as we deliberate this business of the county. Help us, Lord, to keep utmost in our minds the best interests of all the residents of Adams County. Lord, help us to just be kind as we go about our business today and just be with us. Ask all these things in the name of your Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Amen.
All right. Has everybody had a chance to look at the minutes from October 17th of 2023?
I have motion approved. Second.
Okay. Motion carries. All right, Tony, what do you have for us today?
1 second, oh, recording is in progress, okay. The WebEx part didn't come up, I wanted to make sure that all your hands and faces were being recorded for posterity.
Oh, shucks.
Wait 1 second. Okay. I have weekly health insurance claims. Those are in the amount of $63,096.02. Of that, this is such small print. Pharmacy is $38,519.03. Medical $24,578.99 for a total of $63,96.02. And I'm going to sign this, verifying that they are our claimants. And then I'll pass this.
The things we do for State Board of Accounts.
I know. Half of the things you're going to approve today were because of State Board of Accounts. God bless their soul.
Boy, that is small.
Just love them. In case they're watching the recording.
So you get that on record.
State Board of Accounts.
All right, when you got a chance to look at that, I'll take a motion to approve that claim as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay.
Thank you.
Then we have accounts payable. The amount of the accounts payable, which you should have received via email, is $484,468.19, $484,468.19.
Okay, I had just had a couple, if you could clarify those for me. One was the American Rescue Plan Act RNC fence for $27,860.
That has to do with Parks and Rec. It was one of their projects that got approved for
Gotcha.
ARPA.
For the pickleball?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yep.
gotcha. Also American Rescue Plan Act for Red Wolf Roofing, Everett Prescott, and Back Road Excavating. Was that also for
I
a
believe
parks?
that's also Park and Rec. Wasn't, no, it wasn't. It was Crisis Center. That was a Crisis Center ARPA request,
So they had Back Road Excavating involved.
apparently.
The background is,
Were those two different ones?
yep.
Here. There's two different things. The roofing was
The over.
water main. Oakwoods.
I see.
Oakwoods. I thought you were
Is it
talking
like
about something.
desktop? E.
This was also.
Oakwoods.
That's Oakwoods too.
Prescott, what was Oakwood also?
The roofing though was Crisis Center.
And then we had several of them to JP Morgan Chase.
That's the credit card payments.
Credit card payments, that's right. And then also another one, American ARP to Back Road Excavating and Everett Prescott.
That's also Oakwoods.
That's also part of
Yeah.
that. Gotcha. Those were the only questions I had. I don't know if you guys had any clarification or questions on there.
No, none from me.
Okay, I'd take a motion to approve the pay claims as presented.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
Okay, We have payroll claims. The payroll claims are in the amount of $352,734.24, $352,734.24.
Any questions on that?
Motion approved.
Second.
Okay, motion carries.
Okay. And like I say, you were discussing State Board of Accounts. The next two are new requirement that they gave during the audit. One of those is the payroll AP claims, which are the benefits, so forth. The amount of the payroll AP claims is $314,847.38. $314,847.38.
Speaking of State Board of Accounts,
Yes.
the amount that we approved in the claims was 55,000 something. Was that the total amount? Or was that just the state audit or was that federal audit?
Wasn't that both state and federal? Of course, you got to remember, we also pay for the
There was, yeah.
other units. They reimburse us though.
And what was that?
So the 21 audit for the county was 18,229.67. And then the 22 audit, which included the federal audit, was $32,001.67. So in that amount that you guys just approved, there was a 5,460 for City of Decatur.
So that's the only thing that we would get reimbursed. Other than that,
Right.
we're paid in full for the state and federal.
They reimburse at settlement.
Gotcha.
We're just on the hook for our county.
Gotcha. Thank you.
These are benefits claims. These
Did we-
these are.
They make a motion.
Did we get a motion on the
Did we
payroll?
already get the motion on the AP claims?
I'll make a motion if we didn't already.
Second.
All
Go
right.
back, check the recording.
Yes, we did.
And then
Maybe even two motions.
also, you now receive the payroll time card approvals for appointed department heads and such. And you should have received that via email, but that's what this is, the payroll time card approval.
All right. Do we have any questions on the time card?
Yeah, I'll make a motion.
Second.
Okay, motion carries. Thank you.
I will stop taking up time so that Jody, Shannon, and Bree can come up, or Jody and Shannon, or whoever's coming up. There's only two chairs, I guess.
So these are, this is not, these are.
Hey, good morning.
Welcome.
What are you doing inside on a day like
I
this?
know. You're welcome.
It's even got a picture of Jody running down the path.
I know.
Yes.
All right, this morning we wanted to accomplish two things. Review your claims and kind of give you an overview and a summary of where the claims are year to date and how it's performing, and kind of set the expectations there relative to claims experience. And then we did receive preliminary stop loss numbers from the reinsurance carriers. So we'll review our marketing efforts and everything that we've reviewed that went into this analysis. And then we'll share with you where we are with our current reinsurance carrier, and then what we've discovered to be a competitive proposal in the event that we can't leverage the incumbent. So in the first section, on the very first page, you'll see a claims experience dashboard. So what we've done is worked with Allied to pull old reports and old claims information so that we can give you a summary of how the plan's performing, both towards the expected cost of this year as well as we will continue to evaluate year after year cost. So we pulled in 2021, 2022, which are full calendar years, and then year-to-date 2023 was as of August. So it's comparing 8 months for the current calendar year versus the 12-month periods prior.
So when it shows a positive, does that mean that our claims are positive, or does that mean?
Your claims are positive, but let's go through the numbers, Stan, so I can help explain each of the items there, 1 through 8, so we know exactly what it means. And an ongoing basis, we will be providing this report every month, and then I'll leave it up to all of you if you want to meet with me quarterly, however frequent you want me to come to the table to present this. But I want to be sure throughout the year we are all understanding where we're falling. So when the renewal was developed last year, an expected claims amount was developed as a result of that renewal. Otherwise, where did the reinsurance coming through expect your claims activity to be? That's line 1. Expected claims are 1,203,154, which was up 5%, 5.5% on line 2 from where the expected claims were in 2022. But to your point, Stan, how are we performing? So how are we really performing to that? In net paid claims, and this is the claims that go towards our aggregate maximum contract, is 1,146,229. So if you look at that difference, the first bullet point on the right, what that will tell you is that we're running right at 95%, 95.3% of where that expected claims cost number was developed. So we're running right in line with the budget number, beating that by 56,925. If we annualized that and said, okay, if we continue to perform like this the remainder of 2023, how then does that compare to where we ended the year in 2022? That's where you'll see the claim, line 4, the average would be $10,500 per employee, and this is just claims, which is down 9.3% from the prior year, where we ended at $11,577. So our claims activity, as it's going towards our contract that we purchased, is down 9.3%. Now we'll look on the next page when we look at fixed cost, and all cost in is what the county spent. We'll look at that number as well. But
On
again,
that 9.3 down, is that just because of the 8 months, or is that taken?
that's taking it and annualizing that, Steve, and then averaging it. So
Okay.
we literally so far through the August was down on what we're averaging and spending per employee per year from a claims perspective.
Okay.
By the 9.3%. Our average, let's go look at line 6. Again, we're at 95% of expected claims costs. Last year, we were exceeding expected claims, and the year before, we were at 93%. So we've had 1 year bubble up a little bit higher than expected, but other than that, we're running right around expected claims costs. So keep that in mind as we get to the renewal numbers. We've been pretty consistent with running at expected claims. Average employees has remained very consistent. You can see that 154, 162 to 164. So that's really remained very consistent throughout the years. The other thing that we keep track of on an ongoing basis and want to keep our eyes on the ball on is relative to large claims. So what we develop is we're funding the first 55,000 of claims on an individual. That's the specific stop loss that we've purchased. We'll look at that and talk more about that when we get into the renewal numbers. So we want to start tracking people when they hit half of that number. We want to watch throughout the year how we're performing relative to the stop loss we've purchased, okay? In year-to-date 2023, again, this is 8 months compared to the full 12. We've got 9 individuals that have exceeded the $27,500, and the total paid claims on those individuals represent $742,859 of claims. The other important thing to note is, again, we're buying stop loss reinsurance protection when a claim hits $55,000. So we want to track that number too. And right now for the year, we have 3 individuals that have exceeded the 55,000 stop loss. And the reinsurance carrier has been on the hook for 192,000. That did go up. I pulled September claims. That did go up a little bit in September. The prior year in 2022, through the entire year, we had 13 individuals exceeding our specific stop loss. And in 2021, 10. So that'll become material when I talk about the different stop loss levels, which I don't feel the reinsurance is giving us an opportunity to make a different decision. I think where we sit with stop loss relative to the premiums they've illustrated for us. Based upon this activity on line 11, where we had 10 and 13, I don't feel that taking on additional risk makes sense with the premium credit they've given us. And again, we'll talk about that when we look at the numbers. Anything on the claims dashboard? And this will be coming out monthly.
I mean, as far as the claimants, those numbers are nothing that we can control as far as the number of claimants.
Right, so the things that we're hired to do to help you control is how can we minimize those claims costs? Because obviously you'll see when we get into the stop loss renewal, that's the majority of your costs, right? You got your fixed costs buying the insurance and administering the plan, but the majority of your costs are in claims. So that's our job. How can we help you minimize that? I feel we've done a couple of things for 2024 to help with that. The Prudent RX program that you approved. One of the last bullet point there on the right, you can see in the executive summary, your RX claims, and it was, I think, validated this morning when you talked about the number of claims for RX relative to medical. Your RX claims are accounting for 43% of your total claim costs. Our average in our USI book of business is 23%. Our job is to figure out how to get that down. The Prudent RX is the first step in doing that, and we'll continue to work in 2024 into finding avenues to help bring that number more in line with the average. The other thing we did is for the Lutheran Preferred folks, we've got about 20 people on that plan. We negotiated a better contract for you. So the claims that run through for those people that elect that plan would be at a deeper discount. So those are the 2 things right out of the gate we've started with. And again, that's our job to help figure out how we're going to minimize that long term. One of the other things we know we want to do and get back to the table in front of you first quarter next year is looking at some type of a wellness or physician engagement platform to help with that. The next page, a lot of numbers, but I just want to emphasize a couple of things here. This is bringing in your total true cost. So not only the claims, also claims that you paid relative to anybody that had a higher specific than 55,000. Those are called lasers, and we'll talk more about that. And then your fixed costs. So what we know, again, if you look at far right, your total actual spend for 2021, all cost in, was $2,035,847. In 2022, it's $2,723,159. And then year to date, $1,853,547. If we bring all of that into the equation and develop what your true per employee per year cost is and has averaged, that's at the bottom. In 2021, it was at $13,220. 2022, $16,818. And in 2023, $16,979. So total costs are up about 1%. That's a mixture of your fixed costs that went up last year. You had the renewal for 2023, as well as the spend that you funded any individuals that had a laser on the plan. And those numbers were what you see outlined on the next page, month by month. Total claims paid outside of the contract on those lasered individuals through August is in column O, out of aggregate claims, and then paid claims outside of the contract, again in column B. So $140,406 of the potential exposure you had of $475,000 has been funded on individuals who had a higher specific. Again, we'll talk more about that when we get into the renewal. a lot of numbers, but I wanted you to start to see how the experience and how your true cost is built and developed. And then we'll tie in as we get to the renewal numbers as to how the renewal numbers are developed and calculated as well. The one thing that's it's important to note, these costs do not take into account the premiums you're deducted from employees. Okay, so when you go to approve a budget, you've got that line item as well. This is total cost for the plan for reinsurance and administration.
Is that a significant number?
Like 15,000 a month, so times 12 is whatever that number is.
180,000.
Yeah. I do that.
There was a time when I could do that in my head. I don't trust it anymore, so. Okay, again, a lot of numbers, but I felt it was important to look at the experience, understand where we are, understand how the reports are going to continue to come through, and then take us and bridge us into the renewal that we have for the reinsurance market, which is in section 2. So they've released preliminary numbers, which is what we're going to review here today, subject to looking at additional claims experience, which they're in the process of reviewing and trying to finalize. Based upon the renewal of up to that point in time, and again, we've got a competitive proposal in here, so I want to show you incumbent on the executive summary page. We'll show you the market that we went to, and then we'll show you the results of that. If you look at the plan administration renewal section 3 on this page, we already looked at the experience, so there's no need to repeat that conversation. The administration from Allied, they have added a platform called Digital, which will help with all of the compliance related things that the plan has to do relative to regulatory changes. In purchasing that digital platform, there is a cost of $4 per employee per month of the platform. It's not optional, so that's why it looks like they've had a significant change in cost. They removed 50 cents of the governance fee because it's kind of replacing that, but our net increase on the admin piece is $4 per employee per month, which relates and equates into that change of $7,824 annually. The stop loss premium from our incumbent reinsurance carrier. The current relative to the enrollment of 163 people was 801,844. With the renewal, it's 901,400, which represents a change of 99,556 or a 12% change. If you add those two numbers together to get us our total fixed known cost from the 2023 contract to 2024, it's $855,807 compared to the renewal of $963,187, or a change of $107,380, representing a 13% change. The expected claims, which again are those numbers that we reviewed on that first dashboard page, expected claims for for 2023 was 1,801,167. With the renewal, 1,966,959, or a change of 165,792, or 9%. Maximum claims liability. This includes your added laser liability, which again, at renewal, the reinsurance may put a higher specific level on an individual outside of the 55,000. So the maximum claims account for the additional liability that could potentially have. And again, this year we've, out of the 370-some thousand exposure, we've only hit, actually it's 475,000 exposure. We've only hit about 150,000 so far this far. That gives us total expected cost change if we were to stay with current reinsurance of a 10% change for 273,172, or maximum case of 6% or 209,620 if all laser liability was materialized. Section 3 is going to actually dig into the renewal numbers. First page will show you the reinsurance market that between Allied and USI we have approached relative to your experience of your plan to consider providing us with a stop loss proposal. We're going to show, we've narrowed it down based upon the competitive data to Incumbent, Ardellus, and Sun Life. We're going to talk about how those compare and how they compete for your business moving forward. Again, the one thing I wanted to emphasize here, our goal in 2024 is to develop some type of a wellness physician health engagement program to get people on a hopefully a better journey of healthier lifestyles. Next page, a lot of numbers. What I want to say at the top is that we're comparing, other than the laser activity, and again, we're going to talk more about that, but we're comparing the exact same contracts because we don't want to give up any contract protection. So all of the reinsurance that have provided us the opportunity is providing us with the same protection. So if we look at the buckets down at the bottom of our fixed costs and our claims liability, what we know, and I'm going to look at the annual numbers. Annual fixed costs today with our current is $855,807. As we looked at on the executive summary page, the renewal, if we were to stay with the same reinsurance carrier, is $963,187. Allied has a reinsurance proposal that they've been able to provide, which actually would show a decrease in our fixed cost from the $855,807, contrasting to the renewal of $963,187, proposing at $808,062, which is about $155,000 lower than the incumbent. Again, they're still having to review September claims, and they haven't completely cleared all of our large claimants to know what our laser liability is. This is based upon their review as of August claims. So looking at the bottom, claims liability. Again, we've got two buckets to consider. What's my expected claims, which is what we reviewed on that claims dashboard, and what's my worst case scenario? If I go through all of the additional laser liability, which you can see bolded there, maximum additional ag spec laser liability. We add into your max cost only what that looks like relative to the different reinsurance proposals. So again, we know in 2023, your $55,000 specific still goes towards your maximum and expected claims costs. Anything above that is only added to the maximum cost. So if we look at expected claims costs today, $1,801,000, with the last year, the additional laser exposure of $475,000, which again, so far we've had about 150 of that. Maximum claims was $2,726,458. With the renewal expected as $1,966,959 max, with the additional laser liability as of August. Again, September has to be reviewed to finalize those. The renewal was showing $370,000 of additional laser liability, which makes that max at $2,828,699. With the Ardellus reinsurance proposal, $1,781,323 versus max. They have an additional, they've put it in the laser liability more so than in the fixed cost in our expected claims. They do have a little higher laser liability of $560,000. Meeting with the team last week, there's a great potential that $300,000 of that may be off the plan and going away. So we kind of need to keep that in mind. That even makes that proposal even more attractive. But worst case scenario, as it stood through August, we would be looking at a reduction of 1.1% in expected claims cost if we were to move reinsurance carriers. making your total expected cost having a reduction of 2.5% versus the 10.3% increase on the renewal. Saving us almost 300,000. Maximum.
So the alternate option one is who? Or what?
Ardelis is the reinsurance carrier. They're out of Michigan. They're A-rated. They're a very quality carrier. Allied has done a lot of business with them. I don't have any hesitation relative to placing it with them. It really, in my opinion, is going to depend on where do we hit firm and final with our laser liability. We know there's some individuals that are no longer on the plan, so we've kind of looked at that risk and in our minds, if things stay along the track that they are here today, absent any surprises, I would see no reason not to move to the reinsurance and capitalize on the lower fixed cost. Absolutely. And then your worst case scenario, if I look at annual max cost, which means all the laser liability would hit, every penny of it, it's still lower than what the incumbent renewal is at $3,594,715 versus $3,791.
And then who is option two?
Option two is a reinsurance carrier that USI has in our Cornerstone Marketing, Sun Life. They haven't cleared lasers yet, so I don't have any idea on what that might look like. Their fixed cost is significantly higher, Stan. It's almost a 41% fixed cost change. Unless once firm and final is done and they have a lot lower laser liability, I don't see a reason, in my opinion, to consider Sun Life. The only thing that they do have that's automatically included in their contracts is what's considered a no new laser at renewal. So if we were to take advantage of that, when we looked at a renewal for 2025, they could not put in, they could keep any lasers that they put on for 2024, but they could not put a new one on. Now, I could go back to our incumbent and ask for that provision. It's typically about anywhere from 6 to 8, 10% is the highest I've seen of your stop loss premium to add that feature if the incumbent or Ardelis would give us that provision. So if you think about, $746,000 annual stop loss premium, add 10% to that, it's about a $75,000 increase in premium if we wanted to ask them for consideration of would they give us that benefit provision. Other than that, unless lasers come out, I don't see any reason to consider option.
Do we have a deadline on making this decision?
No, so what we're leveraging on and pushing Allied to get us, and Sun Life obviously, but again, I don't feel that that's but we're asking for firm and final. So once I get firm and final, Stan, there probably will be a deadline that they put on us to say, we need a decision by, usually it's a short timeline because they want it locked in, right? Or they'll look at another month's claims.
But I mean, if we're gonna wait for final numbers, then it'll be after the first of the year before.
No, it'll be within 2 weeks.
Oh, really?
It'll be within 2 weeks.
Yeah, we have to renew
Yeah.
before the end of the year.
Yeah, it'll be, if I would love to be back here next Tuesday to be in front of you. At worst case scenario, it'll be the following week to be able to lock it in. And again, when they come out to me with firm and final, they'll all have, this is firm until, let's say 11/7 or whatever date they put on there. And then that's when we have to be, that's why I want to get preliminary in front of you. Look at where we're at. Think about the concept and the dollars and cents that have been put in front of us so that when we do get that firm and final, we're closer to being able to make that quicker decision for you. And again, the next 2 pages are showing tire specific at 75,000 and then Sun Life showed it 100. They're giving us credit of about 5 people in stop loss premium. That is not something I would recommend.
It's not worth it.
If they were giving us closer to 10, 12, 13 people in credit in stop loss premium, meaning that they drove the premium down by that much, that would be worth consideration. But I don't see a value to you. We still feel you're on a lower stop loss than where we'd like to see you, but there's not enough premium credit to be able to make that recommendation to change that stop loss level. So I would remain at the 59,000 based upon what the numbers are showing us.
Will any of these numbers change because of Prudent RX?
So the numbers for our stop loss, the answer is no. Do we expect that our claims dollars are driven down better next year? The answer to that is yes, but it'll show in next year's
Will that
numbers.
affect our decision?
No.
Okay.
No, it'll show up as we incur claims in 2024 with those lower costs. And then when we sit down to the table to evaluate and negotiate for 2025, hopefully our claims activity represents a better picture
Okay.
because we brought that number down. But it will not affect this in our numbers that we have for our 2024 renewal.
Good. Very helpful. Exactly what we've been looking for. Thank you.
Thank you.
What are you seeing so far, Mark?
No, it's good.
Because I know you've typically dealt with our health insurance in the past, and so.
No, I think this is the type of report that we need, and that's the kind of data we need to see, and we need to get our RX under control as best as we can. I think Allied's doing a good job. You can see it. They're pretty good at getting stop loss
Absolutely.
numbers for us.
Absolutely.
Good.
Jody, I know we're too early on maybe to ask this question, but when we get to next year, and we want to maybe take a look at whether we continue to work with Allied and find another.
Sure.
In your short review of where we're at, are you seeing anything big there that's going to cause us to really shop the market hard next year? Or do you see potentially coming back and saying, Allied's really treating you very well, and I'm not sure it's going to be worth it for you to go to the market and look for somebody else? Kind of windage on that?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on
Shane
so
and I
far?
talked about that a little bit. Actually, we talked about it a little bit earlier, that the service that we're still receiving from them, the majority of the time, again, my short period of time in our discussions, still is most of the time at a great level and providing what's needed for your employees. Would there be a third-party administrator out there that might do it for, instead of $26 for 24? Probably.
Yeah.
But I do feel very strongly about this. With all of the government's requirements that has put on third-party administrators, I feel in the next 5 years, we're going to see a segregation between the smaller ones that can't keep up with that and the Allieds of the world that are large national players. We can and we will look at, what the national care, United Healthcare as an example. They have a third-party administrator. So does Anthem. We'll look at that, but I really feel their costs are considerably higher, and I don't feel that they're getting any better at the opportunities that fall within the plan, at managing costs, placement of reinsurance, and all that comes into it. But we work with multiple third-party administrators. We can look at several. I would also want, if there were a decision made, to your point, we'd want it made probably 6 months in advance, right? Because it is time consuming. There's a lot of work in moving that. And I would also want it to be for a value for Shannon and the team here to be able to say, we're also doing it to provide value to employees for access to information.
I think that's really important, that we not just take the lowest cost provider in that particular instance, but that we make sure that we continue to work with somebody that provides a high value service for us.
Yeah. And then I do think we need to continue, and again, this is for discussion in 2024. I'm not saying it's a recommendation. I think we need to continue to evaluate networks and make sure we're getting the best opportunity on the table for those.
Good. All right.
All right.
Shannon, anything else?
The only thing that I have that's on my list, I figured I'd bring it up since we were talking about all this, is I need the 2024 insurance rates approved. I sent you guys these last week. So after our discussion and Jody's recommendation, we do not want to update the employee premiums for 2024. They're going to do a fully insured analysis and then report back on what those premiums should look like compared to what our plan is able to offer. So this is not a change. The only change on this document is that we're going to Delta Vision, and these premiums are updated with that service. So I just need the official approval for this because open enrollment is next week. One reminder for everybody that's listening or here or whatever.
I reviewed those. I thought it looked reasonable. I make motion to approve.
Second.
All right. Very good.
Thanks so much.
Thank you all for your
Jody,
work.
thanks for your work. Looking forward to working with you.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thanks, Judy.
Yep, you bet.
All right. You got these memorized? Okay.
We're gonna have her here quarterly.
Sounds like she's coming back next week and then eventually.
Two final numbers, I thought she said.
Oh, is it 2 weeks? Okay.
Oh, maybe it is next.
Next week or maybe 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Hope
Okay.
at the latest 2 weeks.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, Brad?
Very good. Yeah. All right. Morning, you want to start with that, or you want to do it your part, you say? Go ahead, I gotta get an ordinance, I need an ordinance number.
All right. So, the first thing I have today, and it was interesting, we were talking about at the new medical complex down there in Geneva. And it hit me, if you remember, they were doing fiber optic and you guys had okayed that one. I have a gas permit.
Interesting.
So for NiSource, NIPSCO on County Road 950 South, and they're gonna start 850 feet west of the intersection at 27 and 950. And then they'll come down, they're actually gonna jump the road for some reason, come down, then they'll tie into medical building. And we've been down there, we looked at it. I think they're jumping to the north side because there's quite a bit of stuff on the south side.
Do they say when they expect that work to begin?
No, usually we ask them to give us 2 weeks to get this approved, and then it's whenever their schedule allows them.
Is
They're
that,
installing a new 4-inch gas line.
is that gas hookup holding up the building process down there?
I don't have a clue.
Because I know they've been wanting it. for-
Yeah, what I understand is obviously they can't move in without gas, but I don't think it's holding anything up.
Okay. Because I mean,
I don't
they're
think, I don't think
the
they,
only thing that's
yeah,
holding
I
up.
don't
pretty
think they
quick, they're gonna
expect
be
it
needing heat
occupied.
in that building.
Yeah. I don't think they expect it occupied before the end of the year.
All right.
If I remember correctly.
So do we need a motion to approve that?
Yes.
Okay.
Make a motion to approve. Second.
All right, thank you.
Can I see it real quick before you take it away too, or after you guys sign?
So I'll hand these out when you guys are signing those.
Make sure I word it correctly.
It's kind of confusing, trust me. Can't remember, did I give you all these, Tony?
Yeah, we scan it.
Well, let me let these guys.
Yeah, after
sign
they
it.
sign it, if I can get it from Steve,
Yeah.
but then so I can get the wording correct on the motion.
Yeah.
How much you dated?
Thank you, sir.
All right.
Okay, all right, thanks.
You starting with MVH?
Yep.
All right.
So we have received our monthly draw for October. And the MVH, we received $302,513.88. $302,513.88. On the other side, the local road and street. The draw for October, $51,150.60. $51,150.60.
When do they look at all those formulas? Do they do that during the legislative session or is that just end up?
Well, I believe the last time they looked, I shouldn't say that, the last time they revised the percentage that goes into the MVH and the MVH restricted was 2017. So as far as the formula itself, I don't know that it's changed for quite a while. the percentage we get of the penny of the gas, yeah.
Make motion to accept this report.
Thank you. I thought they changed the proportions as far as what was restricted and what was non-restricted.
Oh, that was brought up this year. It did not pass.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, they were gonna try and do a 60/40.
Get more unrestricted.
Yeah, yes.
That would have been.
And that
nice.
way it would free up for fuel and oil and all that kind of stuff. But it didn't
Yeah.
pass.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, I believe there again, other than the detour down there, of course, is still in place. You've been in place for a while and things seem to have calmed down some. So it's a good thing. But other than that, we're getting ready for winter.
So do we have to put truck routes?
That's gonna be addressed, Bill.
Oh,
Marty's
okay.
got that. Yes.
I see.
We're gonna
Good.
put, no through trucks on all of it.
Yes.
Are we gonna go, north there too, north of Bern? Like if they would go through, Veracruz, come out 300 there?
Yes. Yep. And so just as a quick, what I did was I looked at the list from, this happened in 2018 also. And so I looked at the list from that compared to what we thought. And we added a couple, just minor, like a mile section here and there. So basically the ones that were on then that got taken off, we're putting back on for now. So, yeah, good deal. So yeah, Mark will get to that whenever. Other than that, that's all I got today. Nice and simple.
Thanks, Brad.
Very good.
Yeah, we can do that ordinance right now.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the revised,
Sorry, you want me to read?
Truck
read them
ordinance.
off? You want me to read them off?
I'll have you just tell them which ones we're taking off and which ones we're adding.
Okay.
So it's ordinance 2023-23, which is the Adams County no-through truck ordinance. So we're just updating it we're deleting a few roads. You want to cover those, Brad, the ones we're taking
When
out?
The 224 project took place last year. We added a couple, just for length of the project. That was 3 west and 5 west from 124 to 224. And, that was done. So we thought this is a good time to go ahead and take them off. So we took them off. And you may read the ones we're adding.
Yeah, sure.
So, in looking through, so County Road 300 south, from County Road 700 west to 500 west. County Road 500 west, from 124 to 800 south. County Road 450 west, from 218 to 500 south. And that's one of them, we said we just added a mile because if anybody turns right, it doesn't really go anywhere, but we don't want them on that anyhow. Then County Road 400 west, State Road 116 to 500 south. County Road 300 west from State Road 218 to State Road 116. County Road 500 south from US 27 to County Road 500 west. County Road 700 south from State Road 116 to US 27. County Road 800 south from State Road 116 to County Road 400 west. And then Lynn Grove Road from State Road 116 to County Road 700 south. Lynn Grove Road's one on the north side of Lynn Grove that curves off and just goes around Lynn Grove. So we kind of just took that area where we think people are gonna jump off on and go.
Any questions on that?
Did you notify the gravel pit out there? Or the cement?
Yes, I spoke to them. Yep.
Yeah. How were they with it?
They were good. I don't think they didn't expect it, but at least we looked into it to see if it was a possibility. And I just said, yeah, you're gonna have to use the detour route. So the state official detour route.
That's 116 to 27.
Yes, yeah, that's a good out. I mentioned that. So Highway 27 to State Road 116 back around
To
to 218. Yes.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All right, motion carries to approve the truck routes as presented.
Is that the ordinance?
Yep, here's the ordinance.
2022-23.
Yep. Y'all three vote on that?
I vote in favor.
Okay, you get all the sign. There's
Yeah,
two,
Two different ones,
two of them, yep.
or I'll give you one at a time so we don't get confused, so I don't get confused.
And Tony, that needs published once.
So then how soon can we do it after it's published?
Yeah, it'll get published and then, put up signs.
Well, I appreciate your work on that because I think it's in the best interest of
Yeah.
safety on those roads.
I guess as an update, while you guys are doing that, you remember the community crossings project we had, Brooks Construction Paving to redo the pipes across the road, Lane Grove, and set new catch basins, and then also to pave 400 West. They started on that last week then, so they have actually begun work. They're hoping to have all the pipes replaced under all the streets and the new catch basins set by the end of the week, depending on the weather, of course. And then they're hoping to come out and pave that and 400 West, as soon as they're working in burn right now. So, and as a reminder too, since, we're putting 400 West on the no through truck list, but NDOT also agrees to pay an unofficial detour route. They will come in and pay any damages done to that due to the project. So even though 400 West is going to be getting repaved, they will pay for damages if there's any damage to it. So,
When are they starting on that again? Starting on West.
well, as soon as they get all the pipes and that replacing Lane Grove, they'll come out. And like I said, they were trying to hope to have the piping done this week so they could start paving. So next week at the soonest, we got a couple of days of rain coming, and next week's not looking favorable.
Cold weather.
I'll take this one.
Yeah, we don't-
Angie to send
They don't want to be out there when it's cold.
publishing once, right, in both papers?
Yeah, I would.
So I'm hoping we get a full snap and warms back up to let me finish, so. But other than that, that's all I got.
All right.
Thank you.
Yep.
All right, Rick, did you have anything for us?
Yeah, I one thing here, this has to do with the generator project, Shamball. As you can see, they did some work. They were asking for an installment here. And I think this is sufficient, the work that they've gotten done. While I'm on that subject, they're digging the footer and everything out there right now. So we should have concrete hopefully this week.
Because it looks like they've got all the conduit running down the building.
Yeah, they're gonna run that conduit now. They'll have to basically run it so it comes up to the concrete or where the generator's gonna sit. That's what they're doing. So I'm
So,
asking permission to pay the $130,000 of the 250, what is it?
just a little bit over half, so.
Yep.
Yep. So I guess if you guys are in favor, I'd take a motion to approve that payment.
I'll make that motion.
All right.
Um,
Do we need to sign?
I gave Tony a copy, so, and I did put on there the fund and,
That's part of the ARPA thing.
Good. All right.
another reminder, I do have the BZA meeting tonight at City Hall, so Mark, I think got stuff sent out.
Yep.
So should be good with that.
Thank you.
You're just going by yourself, or did you need any of us to?
More than welcome to come.
I just think
It's pretty,
sounded pretty cut and dry.
I think it is.
Yeah,
I
okay.
got printouts in the house and stuff of it, so shouldn't be a big deal, hard to explain.
Yeah. Okay,
Thank you.
very good. All right, Ed, did you have anything for us?
Mine will be quick. Good morning.
Good morning.
Wanted to just touch base just real quick on the scanning project. As soon as you gentlemen have an overall plan on what to do, what software to use, how to go about doing it, I did my preliminaries search that Shelley was asking for, and I can say that I can do everything I need to do in-house on our copy machine. Made some sample things, and they look real good. So when we get the software to do the indexing, we can put the software right on those things. I think it'll be a pretty simple project for it. I estimate doing it in-house, no extra help, take about a year to do. It's just a wild guess, but we'll see.
Well, we've got a letter prepared, and I don't know, Steve, I don't know if you want to speak to this a little bit?
I think one of the things, obviously, if you've been following kind of the saga of what we've been kicking around here, Shelley our clerk, Shelley Bright, came to us several weeks ago with an ARPA request to hire a firm to digitally archive and index much of her records that are in paper form. And my personal question and concern at that point was, sure would be nice if we had kind of an overall encompassing strategy for all of the offices to digitize appropriate forms, maybe not everything, but certainly forms that are being accessed regularly, as long as we had a system that could handle that, or we agreed on a kind of a common platform to do that with. And in talking with you and talking with Mike and talking with Shelley and kind of batting that around, it feels to me like Doc Record can probably do that for us, has the ability. I even spoke with Tyler Springer from Perry Protect to get a little bit more familiar with Doc Record. So it seems to me like Doc Record could probably do that for us. The only concern or the problem was that they don't really have a service where we would send our records off and somebody would do the work for us and then send them back. So I know we've been talking with Shelley a little bit about kind of that whole project and how it might lay out. And I think she is willing to kind of champion that for us and take that on for us as kind of the point person to work with each one of the department heads, work with everybody that's kind of got records that needs to be scanned and stored, and even to take that a step further, to work with Rick and Mike and other folks as far as finding an appropriate storage space for those physical records that can't be destroyed once they're digitized, or that can't feasibly or economically be digitized, like old handwritten records and permanently bound books and things like that that are probably not accessed very regularly and would be almost prohibitively expensive to digitize. And I question whether they can be effectively digitized such that they can be recalled, indexed appropriately, and so on and so forth. So I think that's kind of what my preference is that we use Shelley maybe as a point person, not necessarily the decision maker, but just to kind of work and collaborate so that we have one approach, one strategy, one vendor, and thinking about maybe a common facility or common storage room or rooms that we could build out with appropriate storage and racking and maybe fire protection, whatever that needs to look like, such that we have a common document storage and digital approach for all of the county offices. So I think that's what you may have seen a little bit of information coming out of Shelley's office about. And I think I know Stan has kind of authored a little bit of a letter from the commissioners that kind of lays that basic plan out and asks Shelley to kind of head that up for us. So I think I appreciate your work. Understand that you have taken a quick look at maybe some of the storage we've got off-site. Number one, found it to be acceptable. Number two, it is still 15 miles away, and my preference would be if we could find a space here in this building that we could relocate those records back here and have easier access for you and your department and all the departments to just walk downstairs or walk upstairs or whatever versus get in the car and drive to Bern to look at a record.
My records are in the same category as some of the other offices' record. Nobody has looked at anything in 22 years.
That's
The cabinet's been
interesting.
here.
Yeah.
So how many hundreds of thousands or millions of dollars do you want to spend? So, but
I don't want
my
to, I don't want to spend any more than we have to.
my office is different.
But I think that it is appropriate that we have, and it is our responsibility to safeguard those records. I think it's appropriate that we digitize those records where it's economically a viable solution, where we can get a good indexing solution there. But I'd like to have a kind of a county approach to it versus an individual department approach. And that's the reason when Shelley came with the request, I know I was probably the most vocal challenger of that and said, can we do this maybe in more of an overarching approach versus doing in a selective approach? So that's the reason that you're probably hearing a little bit coming out of Shelley's office. And
Well, and I just wanted to let you know that I did everything that she asked, the
Yeah.
preliminary information, got it to her, and I'm just waiting on once the decisions have been made on
Sure.
what platform, and
Well,
I
I
think
think-
that needs to be decided before I would actually start
I-
scanning.
absolutely.
I think your approach to the solution is fantastic. I mean, when you look at you being able to scan in-house without additional personnel and without necessarily overtime, and still being able to index and store what we have to, that's exactly the kind of thing that's gonna help this project move ahead. So I commend you for looking for that solution.
You know, and I basically have 23, 26, 23 books for each year. And I would bring a whole year's books down from upstairs and one at a time, just go through them and do that in a week. And next week, we'll take those back at the next year and do it again. And I think we could do that during our downtime.
Our directive, one of our directives is, that Shelley will be, heading up this, heading and directing this project.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of gonna be a big focus here.
I just wanted to.
Yeah.
let
But
you
yeah,
know that
I'd
I've done
say,
everything I know what to do at this point.
good job.
Until I hear back.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
two other things. Taxes, they're being collected. We got $350,000 in the last week. We're doing real well. The taxes are due November 13th. I gave press releases to our media representatives here today, and hopefully they'll get all that taken care of for me and get it out to everybody. But we're in good shape there. And then the final thing, tax sale is 1 week from today at 1 o'clock in this room. There's 21 parcels left. We have 8 of those that are kind of a special deal here that will, if you take that out, that leaves 13, and that's right where we were last year. So that'll be 1 week from today, and I hope some of you gentlemen or all of you will be here. I do think with the tax sale that you three need to talk with Mark and Clayton and get on the same page. I don't think you're completely there yet. I've talked with all of you and I'm hearing different things. So you guys do that.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yep.
Questions?
All right, thank you, Ed.
Gentlemen, very much.
All right, Art, got anything for us? Oh, yeah. Well, that's a big blood sugar you picked up last week. How'd it go, good? Good, that's fantastic.
Very cool experience.
I told you it'd be good.
Yeah.
I'm glad you ate and stick. That's why I'm here.
Yeah.
I remember the line of things I posted.
You may have to watch the recording.
Right.
You want a copy of this ordinance?
Time.
Yeah.
And then we
I won't be here this afternoon.
Okay, I won't be here either.
I mean, if you tell me something, I've got a conference in India.
I'll talk to you. Oh, we
Yeah. Sure, might have to.
After they yelled, want to see your family and whatnot. They threw bombs out from the trees and then they were all hiding in the trees. So I climbed up. There was 5 5 battalions, 1,000 troops.
Wow.
It started marching, the plane said, wow, they're tearing them out, they just appeared through the smoke. It's kind of pretty cool.
What an emotional experience.
I might have cried a little bit. at that
I
point.
get it.
Sounds like an NBA game.
It was pretty cool. So the reason there's 2 pages to this, Birch's did it, which they don't do much around here. The 2 things that happened is they did a simple subdivision to start with, which they go from you guys, and then they did a subdivision. So there was 3 lots, which is this one, and this strip. The simple, they took those 3 lots and just moved the lines, which you can do, which created something that looks like this. Then they did a minor subdivision, which is what you're looking at, taking this and making a 2-lot subdivision. So it's actually again today 4, which is on the same page. So this was created by the simple, and then this is what's actually divided. This is all you're looking at today, is the single lot divided into 2. This you're not looking at.
Oh, just this one.
Taking that one big lot and dividing it into 2. Okay? That's what we're looking for.
Very good.
Motion approved. Second.
What's the acreage?
Motion carried.
The acreage on those is 30
30
each,
Okay.
30.3.
Now, what's the road number designation?
That is a good question. We are on
375 east.
yeah, it's in between 375 and 101.
375 east and 101? Okay, I didn't know where the 375.
Yeah, the north road. Sorry about that. It's for a family. Item.
Jump in front of you, Steve. Right ahead.
Yeah. Are those yours?
The trees.
You want these, Mark? Yes.
Steve doesn't. I could tell.
Well, they were in my. So got the standard report, still super busy. I can see we gave out 50 permits, only 3 less than the September before. And we're only down 3 permits from the, well, down 3 from the month before, so we're up at 67 permits for the year. And I've said this before on earlier reports, the value, estimated cost is still on the red side, but that's only because of red gold last year. That threw the number up. So,
We do still have some commercial construction though.
yes, that is Knapp Investments, which is Hoover Garage, which is on 116, just north of 218, about 2 miles.
And I think the BZA just approved that a couple months
Yes,
ago.
yep, there was, Hoover already, weird deal, but Hoover already had a garage. Never really got permitted right, but he was working on his house and it got too big. But anyway, he actually sold the business to a different guy, keeping the name, and he's actually just moving it like 100 yards. Because Hoover ended up selling the garage and a house to a third individual, so Hoover's not even part of it.
I noticed you've also got a solar service on here. From what I understand, those solar service for a private installation is applicable or available for tax credits, is that?
I actually don't know.
Now, with that valuation, is that done through the assessor?
Yeah, we don't, yeah, I have nothing in that. Be some, I think, solar service, that's, I think that's, Berkeley entry. Couple of other chicken houses. I know he
mention, I don't know how it works, but he did mention that it was some of the available programs, it was worth his money to install it. Sure.
Yeah, because I thought too that there was a tax credit available. I don't know if it's state or federal, but so. Very good.
Thanks, Mark. Thank you. We need a motion to put this in. Oh.
Yes.
I take a motion.
To
Make
enter
a
that
motion
in
to
the
put it in
record.
record. Make a motion. Yes, second.
All right. Motion to enter his report into record. All right. Randy Plummer. Do you know anything about that?
Brad knows something about it.
So basically, years ago, there was a road cut done out there, and there was a permit that had been gotten for that road cut. Well, in records, we do a mile section of road and a road cut in that section. And so that pipe that he had installed, we did more background work on it, because we had to fill out a permit to do a new one, just go ahead and get a new one, put a new pipe in, and pay for it. So he did that, but he said he wanted to come in and talk to you guys because he had paid for one previously years ago and got covered up. So I went ahead and did a little more research, dug into it some more, talked to individuals that were involved with it. And we did find out it ended up getting covered up. So we just said, that's fine, we'll refund your money and we'll install the new one. Install a new one to replace the one that got covered up. So I didn't know if he would come today or not, apparently he did. That's what he was coming for, was to discuss that, but since.
So what was refunded was him paying for the second time?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so everything's
Yep. all
straight?
good.
Okay,
Yep.
very good. Thanks for speaking to that. All right, Mark, what did you have for us?
Mike, you have, purchase orders? Okay, so this morning we had a special,
The purchase orders was coming from stretch.
so we had a special meeting this morning with the Adams County Council to review the proposed special purchase of equipment from Innovative Integration, quotes that we received that Mike developed and got some very competitive year-end pricing on. So this morning, I think all the commissioners were in attendance at that meeting and the council approved the purchase of this equipment. And this is for the Adams County network, data storage network, communication network, all of your IT infrastructure, switching, and then software and Innovative Integration has supplied quotes. Mike got quotes from Dell, quotes from HP, and so Innovative Integration's quotes are for HP equipment, which is compatible with our existing HP equipment. And also the software is compatible with what we're using. And so under the Indiana code, we have a special purchase method that can be utilized to purchase equipment or software where there's compatibility is an issue, and replacing equipment with compatible equipment is an issue, and that is the case for this purchase. So we've got the three quotes, and the total of all three quotes. You have the total, Tony? I know that was presented to the council. I don't have it right here in front of me.
There's on my council line.
Well, let me look here.
724.
Yeah,
Was that it?
let me see.
I don't know. if
Yeah,
that-
738, 774.70 for option 2.
All right, so how much is it, Tony? 738?
738, 774.70. I'll give this back to you.
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so the total is $738,774.70. And that is the combination of these three separate quotes. One of them is, and I'll give you the totals. It's, the one quote is $100,859. And do you know what all that one's for, Mike, that 100?
That was as on servers, maybe. It's probably, that one's for the servers.
Yeah.
100,000.
100,859.
Yeah, 100,859. And this one would
And then the other
be,
one's 93,485.
that's for the
I've got
storage,
685 on this. Is it 485 or 685?
685.
Okay.
93,600.
Okay.
That's for the server storage.
Server storage.
It's just storage. Storage area network.
Then the last one is the 529,795.88.
What was it, 589?
I'll give this back to you in a minute. Stan, you need that.
It's $529,795.88.
I come up with 724, 339.88.
Yes.
Yeah. My entries were correct. Well, given the size of the purchase this is, and we've been trying to get it done, you know, through the remodeling of the server room, the remodeling of the power room, and now being able to negotiate, you know, such a significant update to our system, I really appreciate the work you did to negotiate better pricing and put the specs together and align the new systems with what we're currently using to make sure it's going to be as seamless as can be to go through the update. So, yeah. So, yeah, I really appreciate that.
Thank you, Sam.
Yep.
So on a special purchase method, we need to have you approve a motion. The motion would be to approve a special purchase method pursuant to Indiana Code 522.10.7 and 522.10.8, and quotes to purchase computer hardware and software to upgrade and replace existing equipment for the Adams County communication, data storage, and network infrastructure from Innovative Integration Incorporated according to the following quotes, as they're the only quotes that meet the county's reasonable specifications and requirements and are the only quotes that are compatible with the existing hardware and software utilized by the county. And then we'll set forth each one of those quotes and the numbers in the minutes. So that's
I'll make
the
that
motion. Second.
And the reason we have to do this, Mark, is because we got two quotes from two different vendors.
Right.
The HP equipment is compatible with our current equipment. The
Right.
Dell equipment would not have been as compatible, even though it was slightly cheaper, but not very much.
Right.
So the reason for the special purchase agreement is to basically not accept the low-cost provider because we had compatibility issues with the low-cost provider's solution.
That is correct. And so you have to make that a matter of record in the minutes.
Gotcha.
And I have that all.
Okay.
Did y'all
So,
vote? Was there a 3-0 vote on that?
did you make the motion already?
I did.
And seconded.
Okay, I'd vote in favor of that also.
All right. And then also, I need a motion authorizing Mike as the Chief Information Officer of Adams County, the CIO, who they want to sign this, authorizing him to sign the quotes approved for the purchase of the hardware and software from Innovative Integration.
Second.
Okay, I vote in favor also.
All right, so that way, Mike, you can sign the purchase orders. get them out, so.
And the total that Stan and I just added on that sheet is 724, 339.88. We added that up a couple times. It was different, there was a different amount on one of the things that we got sent, but
724, 339.88.
that's what we came up with, adding what was on that sheet, so.
Oh, those are the numbers and that's what we're signing.
I did.
Thanks for all your cooperation.
And as you gentlemen heard this morning, the council may want to just pay for it all at once instead of doing a 5-year lease to save the interest. And so that'll be up to them how they want
Thought that was good discussion this
to
morning.
accomplish that. Yep. So maybe when you send that in, you can ask them, you know, find out delivery and invoice dates or expected invoicing so that Tony can do an additional appropriation, get that
Invoices will happen when
equipment shows up.
the equipment goes up, and we have 30 days from the time we get the invoice. So
So we should have plenty of
they
time.
normally never send the invoices until they know that it's been shipped.
And we have it
delivered.
budgeted now,
Okay.
at least for that first year, it's in the budget, so it's up to council on what they decide to do when they do it.
Yeah, and they'll just have to either advertise for an additional
Yeah.
appropriation and
Yeah, if they want to pay for all of it.
decide what fund they want to use,
Yep.
but it was necessary to have them approve the purchase this morning.
Right.
Well, and I guess I want to emphasize too, from time to time, you know, I've heard criticism that our system is overkill. And I disagree with that. I think the system that you've put together is robust. It's as user-friendly, it's as secure as we can possibly make it. But the other thing is, I think we have invited other entities onto our network to give them the advantage of that security, like you talked about this morning. And so once again, I think it's just a cooperation of county and municipalities that is to an advantage to everybody involved. And so I'm just really proud of that.
Yeah, it, as I was setting up at my desk between meetings, I got something from Decatur where they asked a question and I was going down through, well, yeah, here's all the things that you have advantages of by being with us that you don't have by being away from us. And, you know, so many things are just baked on and, you know,
Yeah.
meets up with a lot of things and we provide services and so on and we don't really make any money off of any of that stuff. We just-
Well, and that's the other thing too, even, you know, to pick an example of the updates that are proposed in Geneva, you know, they've had the advantage of a grant from ARPA money, which was great and agreed upon. But, you know, that's going to help them towards their goal. But not only that, but you've agreed to oversee their project down there. So with your expertise and oversight, that's going to be a project looking at the big picture and not just buying a couple new computers and sticking some more jacks in the wall.
Yeah.
It's going to be a full system for them that's going to work well.
Yeah, there is an awful lot of advantages, even for Decatur and so on, the things that they don't maybe always notice or see. They look at what they're being charged a year, which I think is absolutely nominal for IT. And some of the people think it's extremely high, but if they had to go out and buy that stuff on their own and do all that stuff and do all the maintenance and hire the people to come in and do it, I would soon think that they would look at it and say, wow, what a deal, that we have. So,
Yeah.
yeah, just this morning was just even on one PC. So just, trying to verbalize that, so. But at the same time, it's tough as things get more complicated, what we can handle. And so it helps us out if they do conform. And if they don't conform, it just really puts a strain on my guys. It's easy if everybody does everything the same, and so we fix it for the sheriff's department or the department in Adams County government, they would have the same issues. Now we fixed it for them, and, you know, it's just a matter of pushing things out. But if we don't standardize on stuff, it is not cost effective at that point. It just really isn't. For us to learn 3 and 4 different ways of doing stuff, and it's just not ideal. So I'm hoping that as we come up for contracts with these particular sites, Mark, later on, we can start putting some of that stuff in, putting some meat in that, you know, these are the things that's going to have to take place, or I can't provide such services after a while.
Well, and the other thing is, you know, the only reimbursement we ask for from these other entities is direct cost.
Yeah.
There's no labor, there's no overhead, there's no nothing. It's just, we ask for a reimbursement for any direct costs that are associated with their service. That's it.
And to be honest, if we did start to do that, that means that we would have to have like our own accounting system and people to sit there and manage hours, and we'd have to book them. And here again, that's just,
Yeah.
we just got 3 guys, and it's all we can do just to handle our current problems, let alone here, keep track of all your hours and where you worked at, and then do billing and invoicing out to these people.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All right, very good. Thank you, Mike.
thank you.
And Mike, I know we've got some draft agreements then for Burn Decatur and Geneva. We'll get updated. So I know Clayton, you got those. I'm looking at emails here. We've got agreements to update for 2024.
Yeah, we haven't started yet, so. I
But
mean, we gotta get agreements for 2023 out to them, and I gotta charge them for 2023 yet, so.
we can do that yet this year. But if we get I know we've got the framework of the agreements. We just need the exhibits and then we'll get them sent out.
Yeah, and we gotta add on to that framework because we have to.
All right. So just so we've got that in the works.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Mike.
All right. Anything else, Mark?
Nope, that's it.
All right. Shannon, did you have anything?
Thank you.
Okay. All right. A couple things that I'm looking on. Are we close to closing on the land purchase at the Merit Center?
We checked on it. We need a survey,
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't got the survey back yet?
need a legal description.
I took and last week, the survey was just approved by city
Okay.
council. To have the survey done was just approved, and they submitted it to MLS for a survey. She does not have a survey back.
Do
yet.
we need to, have a final closing on that property before we can begin work?
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. On, the CMHC board, we had a recommendation of Danielle Reed from Child Protective Services, which we appointed, which she turned down. And one of the options that we have is to appoint one of the commissioners to that board also. So it is our option to wait on a recommendation on another person, or it is an option to nominate one of us. And we had been reluctant to do that initially because we were debating filing a complaint with the CMHC board. So I think they have improved their services. I think from the last couple times I've talked with the stakeholders involved in those services, they're completely satisfied with the upgrades that have been made. And so I don't know what you guys want to do. Do you want to proceed? I spoke with Allen County commissioners. they have a commissioner they've appointed to the board. Is that something you want to consider, or you want to think about it and see? Mark, do you have any recommendations on thoughts or? I mean, that's the way it was set up by the state, is that the commissioners have an appointment to that board, and it can be one of us or it can be somebody else, so.
Is there anybody from the hospital you'd want to think would be good for that?
I mean, I can just hold off, and I'd kind of ask Community Corrections Board or JREC Committee for recommendations, so.
I guess my preference would be, let's wait and see if they come up with a good recommendation.
Okay,
I know, speaking for me personally, I could add very little to that board. I would rather have somebody that's got experience and expertise in that area to be our representative. I'd be a warm body sitting at the board table.
okay, very good. The other thing is, we have opened October for grant applications for the opioid money for $75,000 grant. And to this point, we just have one applicant. So, talking with Ian, I had asked him, once the grant window has closed for applications, to have the opioid steering committee come together and make recommendations to us, because it'll be us that awards that grant. So you can look for that maybe in the next couple of weeks, I suppose. But I didn't have anything else. Do you guys have any reports? Okay. Anything from the general public? Okay. All right.
Motion adjourned.
All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you.